Hey guys, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game from Talon Strikes Studios called Winterborne. Winterborne is a 2 to 4 player game, plays in about 90 minutes. Probably if you're playing 3 players, 4 players might go on a little longer than that. But what you're doing in this game is you are controlling a warrior, an explorer, a shaman, and you're sending them out to these different territories around this map, and you may be forming alliances via trade. You might be conquering, because sometimes you gotta conquer, or you may be exploring, or raiding, or taxing, or just praying. What you're trying to do is you're trying to be the most efficient at creating your own little territory on your board by building buildings, expanding your territories. But you got to get most of that done before winter comes, because when winter shows up, the game gets over quickly, and that's that. So that's enough talking about it, poorly, albeit, but that's enough talking about it. Let's go down to the table, see how it plays. All right, so here's a game of Winterborne, all set up. I'm basically going to just show you how to set up for one player, but it's going to be the same for everybody. And I'm only going to show you one player's turns through the course of a round, just so you can kind of see how the game works. So to set up, you're going to give each player a house board. So in this case, we have House Skogula, 6 buildings, 3 churches, a hand of 6 cards with their color on the bottom. You're going to give each of them a territory board here. They're going to get a warrior, a shaman, and an explorer, and they're each going to go in the appropriate section. So the shaman will go here, conqueror or warrior will go here, explorer will go here. I'm pretty sure all these boards are different, but on this one, this is how it goes. And each player will get a gold. Each player will get a Winterborne power, which will activate in winter. I probably won't get into that, but I'll explain it. Then you're going to set up the board. You're going to set up the board in this color, so green, red, yellow, purple, blue, black. Like this, each board's going to have an exploration, a trade section, and some spoils, and some conquer. And you're going to put the resources in the middle. Then over there, you're going to have the season board, which is going to have additional cards. It's going to be functioning as the timer, and then winter. So that's set up. Now, let's go over the playing. So on your turn, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be playing cards. You're going to have a hand of 4 cards, and with those cards, you're going to be able to do a few things. Let's draw the cards, and then I'll play them open so you can kind of look at them. All right, so here's what we got. We got these 4 cards. All right, so if you look at these cards, I'll kind of come up closer here. If you look at these cards, they have 3 things. They have a person they can move, an amount of movement, and something else that they can give you if you don't want to use them for movement. So these cards have 3 different ways you can use them. So the way that this is going to work is you need to move these people around the board to be able to take actions on the big board. So for example, if I move the red guy to one of these black spaces, I can then take a warrior action, which are these right here, at the red or at the purple space. If I move the shaman down here, I can take one of the 3 shaman actions, or 4 shaman actions, I guess, depending, at the red space. And if I move the explorer to, we'll say, blue, I can do the explorer action, which means I can take a card or take some food from the red space, or from the blue space. That's the gist of the game. Or I can just discard a card and get the gold, get some food, or activate wilds cards, which I don't have at this point. All right, so here's what I'm going to do, just so I can show you. I want to show you each of the 3 actions, or the 3 characters, what they can do, and then I'll kind of just, talk you through how the game plays. So here's what I want to do. I want to move the shaman. So I'm going to play this card to activate the shaman, and I want to move the shaman 3. So I'm taking the shaman, moving him 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. Multiple people can be in the same space. It doesn't matter. There's no blocking here for that. So now shaman is next to blue. Now I can do any of the actions I want that the shaman is able to do in blue. So if you look here, I can trade, which means I can do this on the trade card. I can trade a gold for a favor. It'll be worth a point at the end of the game. Or I can tax, which means I'll get a gold and some military. Or I can do absolutely nothing and just pray and take a favor token. Favor tokens are useful for trading with some of the territories, or when we get to winter, you have to cash in so many of these to activate your Winterborne power. But what I want to do is I'm actually going to I'm just going to trade. So I take this card. It takes a gold, so I take my gold. I trade it for a favor. And then this flips over and it just becomes points at the end of the game. So that's now just 1 point for me at the end of the game. So that's action number 1. I have 2 cards left. I can play these cards, or I can hold them, discard, and draw back up to 4, whatever I want to do. You don't have to play all your cards in this, which is a little different. So let's go ahead and move the Explorer. So let's see. So I'm going to move the Explorer. So I'll signify the boat. And I'm going to move him 2. 1, 2. The boat is now adjacent to green, so they have a couple actions. That they can take. They can buy an exploration card, which if you look over here in spring, which is the season we're in, exploration cards cost 2 of any resources. I don't have any resources, so I can't do that. Or I can raid. Raid is simply going to give me 2 food. So I take the 2 food, put it in my supply, I'm done. That'll be my turn. At the end of my turn, we'd refill any of the cards from the exploration deck or piles from the current round or season, and then the next player would keep going. But since it's just me playing, I'm going to just play a couple more rounds so you can see a couple more actions. Alright, because I want to show you kind of what the warrior does as well. Let's go ahead and do him. Alright, let's see. I need to do some taxing first, so let's do this. So I'm going to use the shaman. I'm going to move him 1. So I'll just go ahead and put everybody at the same space. He's going to tax the green territory, and all that means is I'm going to take a gold, and a military. And I'll tell you why that's what I did in a second. Now I'm going to use my warrior. So I'm going to play the warrior, and the warrior is going to move 3. So let me unbury him. 1, 2, 3. All right. So the warrior is now at red. He has a couple actions that he's able to do. 1, he can conquer. When you conquer, pretty easy. You're going to take one of these tiles. You're going to spend a gold and a military, which is what I have to do right now. I don't have to, I guess, but I'm going to. So I'm going to conquer. I'm going to take one of these tiles, and I can put it on my board in any space that has a red outline. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to grow your territories of certain colors, because when you put buildings on it, the score is going to be the amount of the hexes times the number of buildings. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. Then whenever you conquer a territory, you get to take a spoil. What these are one-time abilities, or they're going to expand a territory. So like this will give me an extra yellow at the end of the game that I can use throughout the game to use a movement or signify a character that I want to use, so on and so forth. So I'm taking that spoil. And that's the end of my turn. Spoils don't refill. It is what it is on that. And so that once they're gone, they're gone. So that's the end of turn number 2. I'm going to play through a couple more turns so you can kind of see, maybe I can do a building and take a card and all that. And then I'll tell you how the game ends. All right, so got to draw back up to 4. A lot of shuffling here because there's only 6 cards and I haven't bought any yet. All right, so let's see here. What do we have? We have 2 food. So I want to get some gold. So I'm actually just going to play this for gold. So I'll take a gold. Then what I'm going to do is I want to move my warrior. So I'm going to move my warrior, and I'll move him 1. So I'll move him 1, and I'm going to build a building just so you can see how that works. Probably not something I would really do, but I just want to show you how that works. So to build a building, it costs 1 gold and 1 food. So I have 1 gold, 1 food. What you're going to do is you're going to take the leftmost building on one of these sections, and you're going to build it adjacent to your warrior. So in this case, I had to build it on black. And then it's cost me 1 food, 1 gold, and then I get a favor when I do that. So now I have a second favor, which I can start working on for my second round of winter. That's that. Once you've built both of these buildings, paying the cost like normal, then you can build a church. All you have to do is take the action of the warrior to build, but you don't actually have to pay anything. And when you build a church, let's say I built this church here, I could then take a card from the red area as like a bonus. So not only is the building free, it's also going to give you some extra cards, which is pretty nice. All right, so that is that action. I have this card left, which doesn't do anything for me right now, so I'll keep it. I'll draw back up, shuffle these guys. I want to try to show you drafting a card action, and then you'll basically have seen everything, and then I'll talk through winter, and then we'll be done. All right, those are done for now. All right, let's see. I need a shaman. So I'm going to use my shaman I'll move him 1 because it doesn't matter. I'm just going to tax. So I'm going to tax with the shaman just to take some goods. All right, then I'm going to move my boat and I'm going to buy a card. So I'm going to explore with my boat. We're going to explore 3. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so I can explore it red or red. So I'm going to explore it red. So when I explore, I have to pay 2 resources of anything. So I'll use my military and my food. And then I'm going to purchase this card. So now I'm going to explain the wilds cards a little bit because they're a little bit different. So if you see on the wilds card, they have a lock and they have a little scroll. On your board here, there's a section called a reserve. You can have 3 cards in reserve during the game that you may be able to use on a later turn. The difference here with a wilds card is they're always in there. And the only way to activate them would be to discard a card that has a tree and it'll activate all the wilds in your reserve. It's going to basically give you the stuff. So if I activated this, I'll be able to discard a food and get 2 military. So that's how they work, but they're stuck in there forever. There are some other cards, let me see, like this one. I could play this card down in my reserve, and then on a later turn, I could play it, and then it would get discarded like normal. But if I ever draw it and I don't want it, I can just put it down there, and it essentially will extend my hand to 5 cards. All right, so I played all my cards. So that's that. And then at the end of my turn, I'll have to refill. So you always refill from spring, because that's the timer. And then you keep going. So I showed you everything that you can do. Taxing, trading. I didn't show you praying, but essentially praying, you just move your shaman, you say, hey, I'm going to pray. And then you take one of these guys, put it over there. I showed you raiding, building the buildings and all that. So once you go through all this, so say we've gone through spring, summer, autumn, which basically means all the cards are gone. Then we're going to go into winter. When we get into winter, there's 3 rounds. Spring, summer, and autumn can be multiple rounds just until the cards run out. Winter, we each get 1 turn. So we'll get 3 turns in winter. Now in winter, we have a special ability that we can use, which is called our Winterborne ability. Each round, they cost a certain amount of favor tokens. So round 1, it costs 1. Round 2, it costs 3. Round 3, it costs 3. Or round 2, it costs 2. Round 3, it costs 3. And you can pick one of these 2 abilities to do on each round if you have the favor tokens to pay. There's going to give you extra benefits to kind of help you make the winter a little bit better. So that's the gist. And then at the end of round 3, there's going to be, we'll do the in-game scoring. And whoever has the most points is the winner. In-game scoring is on this card right here. Pretty straightforward. You're going to get buildings times area. So let me show you what that kind of looks like. Say I had this here. And I had 2 buildings here. So I have 3 red territories, 2 buildings. That'll be 6 points. That's kind of how that works. So you're trying to get, these tiles, because that would give me a 4th red. So I'd have 4 red times 2. That's 8 points. That's pretty nice. Then you're going to do sets of 1, 3, 6, and 10 cards. So if you look at these cards, there's a weapon, there's a wilds, there's a treasure, and there's a provision. Those are the 4 types of cards in the game. There's also banners, but those are just in-game points. They don't count. If you can get one of all 4 of those cards, you're going to get 10 points, or just 1, 3, 6, however many you can get. Banners, you're going to score as applicable. So this banner, if I had that in my hand, I would get a point for every treasure card I have, kind of giving me some motivation to get treasure cards. Allies, you're going to get the points that are on them. Some of them are just single points. Some are points for other things. So in this case, 1 point. Winterborne token, for every one of these you have left, they're worth a point. And then every 3 resources you have is worth a point. You're going to add all that up. Whoever has the most points is the winner. And that's how you play Winterborne. Let's go up to the top, see what we think about it. All right, well, that was Winterborne. First off, I just want to say I love it when boxes are thin like this. The whole game fits in this thin box. It's a nice square. I like that. Now, let's get to some real points. This is a deck builder. I don't know if you listen to our podcast, but on an episode of our podcast, Katie and I were having a discussion because I call this game a deck builder with a Rondel. Yes, you are building your deck. Yes, it has a Rondel. But I think you saying a deck building mechanic is the main mechanism might be a little off base because you're buying maybe, 6, 7, 8 cards throughout the game. Not a whole lot. And you're spending a lot more time using those cards to go around the Rondel, trading resources. So it's pretty much a Rondel resource management game. And we also joked that it basically had every mechanism that a Euro game can have, with the exception of tracks. If this game had tracks, it may be the greatest Euro game ever created. So we'll just keep that as a side note, a little tongue-in-cheek there. But I like this game quite a bit. You saw the meeples. They're shaped meeples. The resources are all different shapes, which is really interesting. The cards are really nice quality. They're really easy to understand. You can tell what a weapon is. You can tell what a treasure is, a provision, all that stuff. The reserve section on your board where you can store some cards or activate some wilds is a really cool little touch. And I also like that when you're using your cards, you don't have to play them all. So if there's one card that I want to play, I can just play that one card. I can pass and discard or do whatever I want with the other cards. That's cool. So I'm not really going to talk about this a ton. It's really fun. If you like deck builders, you like rondels, you like Euro games, this is one you should check out. So this is going to be BGM accepted. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 on BGG. So a 4 out of 5 wrenches. And I'm going to keep it. Going to play it a lot because it's awesome. So that was my review of Winterborne. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics. And as always, keep gaming.